All right, welcome back to the program, and right on time if you just tuned in to catch headlines on the newspaper review with Chukwudi Okolie Ubuaja. Chukwudi, good morning.
Hello.
And good to have you again this last Friday.
Gary.
Good to see you, Chukwudi. Good morning.
Morning. You're piloting today. I see your paper.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we're here.
And I'm just noticing your game.
You're just noticing it.
Yeah.
The two of you kicked off this presentation.
No.
Claire,
I didn't.
can we go to substance?
Yes,
Thank you, Chukwudi. Let's begin with the People's Daily, because I do not want to be the topic this morning. The papers the People's Daily will lead us. And the lead story here says, Tinubu demands increase in currency swap between China and Nigeria. Condemns terrorist attack on army base in Borno. Away from that, 2025 budget, defense ministers, MDAs under fire in Senate. Next to that, money laundering. I don't have power to convert funds to Naira. El-Rufai's ex-aide tells court. You want to find out all the details, the People's Daily would guide you. Below the picture story, we have federal government says telecom tariff hike coming. Okay. Federal government says telecom tariff hike coming. All right, we get prepared for that one. Below that, Nigerian Army formalizes collaboration with firms on food security. National Quranic competition. Gombe governor gives Hajj seat cash gifts to excellent indigents. All right, Boko Haram Zulum donates 300 million naira to slain soldiers' families. And finally, from the front page of the People's Daily, Nasarawa is the kicker. Governor Sule downplays opposition's likely merger ahead of 2027 elections. All right, that's it from the People's Daily. Let's see the Nigerian pilot quickly now. Nigerian pilot leads with expatriates tax regime. Court summons Tunji Ojo. The Riders Interior Minister Ojo, AGF Fagbemi summoned over proposed expatriates tax regime. They are to explain why implementation of expatriates taxation regime should not be stopped. That current prevailing tax regime is friendlier to expatriates than proposed one. And of course, so many other writers to that particular story. You want to see all the details. Away from that, HMPV is on the news. No serious threat for now. NCDC assures Nigerians. No serious threat for now. NCDC assures Nigerians. That's on HMPV. Bandit leader Dogo Issa killed in clash with repentant comrades. That's on page 4. Away from that, we have a picture here of Governor Diri signing condolence register at the home of late Women Affairs Commissioner. Diri Cabinet PDP chieftains visit late commissioner's family and other accident victims. A very sad report. And just to look at some of the stories at the bottom of the front page of the Nigerian pilot this morning, we have 18 local government chairmen squandered 83 billion naira allocations in 12 months. That's coming from Edo State. And Governor Wevelu is talking. Nnamdi Kanu's trial will remain in limbo until assigned to a new judge. That's according to a lawyer. You want to see that. 285 victims rescued, 22 human traffickers arrested in Kano, according to NAPTIP. Finally, Catholic Pontiff Pope Francis urges dialogue against world war. That's on page 4.
Okay, so let's step it up on New Telegraph. New Telegraph, I beg your pardon, leads with Tinubu 6, China support for Nigeria's Permanent Security Council bid. It's on page 2. Comes with riders, and there are other stories trending just below the nameplate there. Of course, from budget presentation in Lagos to Ohaneze, and of course to U.S. Embassy, consulate in Nigeria shut down permanently. Biden praises Carter's car as ex-president Kesket heads to Georgia. And just a little below the picture story, 2025 appropriation bill, Senate grills ministers, heads of agencies, and there's a rider here. Wale Edun begs for closed-door session on fuel subsidy proceeds as upper chamber orders NOA non-DJs to represent their proposals. And we also have other stories on the front page here. Minimum wage will be reviewed in less than 2 years, says Minister. This story is on page 7. And childhood maltreatment might alter sperm, impact future generations' brain development. And that is according to the study that is posted on page 27. Chukwudi, let's quickly start with you. Of course, there are other stories, okay? Let me quickly take this one. Fund repatriation, CBN moves to bear extension for export proceeds. Okay, take it up, Chukwudi.
Yeah, some papers seem to be late or are reporting certain things because this bet actually came yesterday. FG says telecoms tariff coming.
Yeah.
And it reminds me that an official of the NCC actually was saying, no, people should stop spreading rumors. There's a procedure, even if it's going to happen, which I think is true anyway. But they say there's no smoke without fire. As it was debunking, I hate that word. As it was disowning that particular report, it does seem that there were plans to eventually do it, and government has now come out openly. The point is this: can we afford whatever? They say that the federal government has the interest of the consumer, the person who consumes data, makes calls, and as well as that of the telcos, you know, very much in mind when it does what it does. So it's an equity kind of arrangement, fairness to all parties. Whatever happens, affordability is going to matter a lot, because restriction to data underdevelops a people to some extent. You have to organize all that into your thinking process to make a good decision. Expatriate tax regime caught Saman Sojo and others. I don't know why the minister has been summoned. I think the court is questioning whether expatriate tax should be touched at this point and all that. Well, if it's not unconstitutional to do it, if it's a doable thing, then the reason has to be other things. Let's not speculate. Yep. Bandit leader Isa killed in quarrel with repentance. I want to hear things like this: that God or Allah is sowing seeds discord in their midst, and they're turning their swords against one another. You know, it's biblical. I'm sure that the Quran would actually have something like that too. When you are plotting against people, God could actually bring confusion into your ranks. Then here, Tinubu is seeking China's support for a permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council. Well, fine. I don't know how many slots Africa would be promised at the end of the day. Whatever happens, when that, if it's just going to be one seat, you're going to see something that looks like a rivalry. Yeah, I mean, honestly, South Africa is going to be the first
I thought
other contestants,
yes,
so to speak.
I thought that should have even been the question. Yes. How many African nations will be fine? But again, that is why you need to, you know, seek support, you know, and of course, dialogue with other nations and seek collaboration and all of that. And we've been at this for quite a long time. But I also wanted to talk about a little bit about the demand for increase in 2 billion naira currency swap deal with China.
First of all, we have to understand what the currency swap is all about. And because I'm not an economist, I Googled it up. A currency swap is a financial agreement where two parties exchange currencies and interest payments at a predetermined rate. It's a type of foreign exchange transaction that can help companies and governments manage currency and interest rate risk. What this means is that you don't leave your currency dancing to the vagaries of the free market and all that. You know, it's like determining what your current exchange rate is, what your exchange rate should be. There are some countries that deliberately tamper with the exchange rate. They tell you this is our exchange rate, and it's working for them. I don't know why economists have, you know, two systems in place. You could leave yours floated, like we did the other day, but you could also fix yours. What are the economic implications and all that? Remember that the trade volume between China and Nigeria, unfortunately, the surplus is on China's side, is growing more and more. So many things are likely to come into place concerning dealings between these two great economic powers.
I think I don't know if I'm also right, but simply put, it entails transacting businesses based on the partnering countries' currencies, rather than having to re-exchange in dollars and then purchasing in dollars. So I think both Nigeria and China, whatever we purchase from China,
you're saying that
will
there
be
will
paid
be no
in Chinese
dollar
currency. No dollar intrusion.
Fine, that's it.
Yes.
That's why they say it's a currency
swap.
exchange. Parties exchange currencies and interest payments is going to be in their own currencies, of course. And that, I think, removes a hurdle the dollar brings into transactions across the world sometimes. But remember that Donald Trump, he has not assumed office yet. 20th January is the date, but he's already saying that those who are trying to form BRICS and then counter the dollar, tariffs will be, slammed on them and all that.
I think another good thing
it seems to be threatening the entire world.
Yes, it will help us curb the interest, rate that could amount, from whatever transaction we make.
Oh,
if
yeah,
we had,
sure.
Yes, if that had been done in dollars,
yes.
You can imagine, the interest rate, the loan repayment and all of that,
yes.
What it will attract. But once transactions are done based on the exchange of currency, it reduces, it helps your economy, helps your pocket as well. So the president is asking for an upward review of, in the $2 billion, dollar currency swap.
Yes.
Yes, I don't know to what, is the president asking for, but that would be good.
Quickly, the president, the United States president that was like a dove, is getting a private burial. Eventually, Jimmy Carter is going home. I loved him. I liked Rosalind, the wife who died before him.
He didn't say anything, but just before we go, the director is saying there's something that came up this morning. I'm not
comfortable when she doesn't say anything.
Yes, there's something that came up this morning that might interest you as well. I saw it on the international, Scientists are trying to engineer a genetically modified male mosquito. And they intend to inject a toxic sperm into the male mosquito and then release it into the atmosphere to mate with the female Anopheles mosquito.
Yeah.
And how this is different from what has been paraded before is that these toxic male mosquitoes, when they mate with the female mosquitoes, will eventually kill the female mosquitoes and prevent them from breeding.
Is that
so that checks, and they said it's going to check malaria
Wonderful.
by 60%.
No problem. I believe in AI achievements. It's just that the machines can turn against humanity one day. I believe in science, but I'm not going to be submitted in the lab and things to.
No, you don't.
There's something of the Bushman in me.
It's mosquitoes. It's mosquitoes, not humans.
Okay,
so,
right.
I think the test case will be mosquitoes, not humans.
Not humans, yeah.
Eventually.
It's just I'm not comfortable that it's the male mosquitoes that are killing the female ones. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get into the conversation. Stay with us.
Mosquito activism.